champions. Yesterday, Willard and Dibs did a brilliant interview with Steve Young. And if you've missed it and you want to check it out on YouTube. You can go on the Odyssey app. Just search wherever you find 49er content. Look for the Willard and Dibs interview with Steve Young. Steve is he's just a beautiful football mind. And
speaks so well, too.
He essentially said that last year was the 49ers' best chance to win a Super Bowl. Listen to what he says right here and think about whether you agree or disagree with the Hall of Famer, Steve Young.
The most pressure was last year, right? Because last year the Rams are down, the whole division's down, Seahawks are down, the Cardinals are way down. You know, in the playoffs, you play a Packer team that's been middling the whole time. You got an upstart Lions squad. You're like, that's how we get to the Super Bowl, and then you play a down year Chiefs team. Like, of all the times that you're set up to do it, that was it. But since the Ravens at Christmas, I mean, we just weren't the same. And, you know, we held Patrick Mahomes to 19 points. You could have told me, look, Patrick Mahomes won't score 3 touchdowns. We're not going to win that game? Like, you know, you're not going to walk over the Packers. We're not going to walk over the Lions. Like, things were haywire from Christmas on, and that's why last year was the time with the best roster in football to go get it done. And the fact is it didn't happen. That happens. It happened to me. I get that. But now next year, I think the Rams will be better. I think Marvin Harris will make the Cards better. The Seahawks will be better. The Lions will be, the Packers will be better. Like, it's going to get better, and we're probably not. I don't know if we'll get better, but hopefully we can stay the same and still beat the rank and file with this amazing roster we have and the way that we are innovative. We deploy the guys on offense. Then, yeah, great. But what just happened was a big miss. It was too bad.
All right. Do you agree with what Steve Young said there?
God, I love him.
Do you feel the 49ers have a better or worse chance to win the Super Bowl this year as last year? That's what I want to know, because I'm 100% with him. The Chiefs are only going to get better, period. Now, I know the Rashee Rice situation we're monitoring.
Got Hollywood Brown. They just drafted Xavier Worthy. It feels like they knew something was happening there, so I think they'll be. And they have Travis Kelce. Like, come on.
And their defense will be a year older, and more, they were young this year, as young on the offensive line.
They got guys like Karlaftis, who is still young.
All right, so put the Chiefs to the side, because they're the juggernaut, and I honestly think I hate Pat Mahomes and the Chiefs right now more than the Dodgers. I didn't think that was even possible.
That's a conversation we can have as well. Like,
I didn't even think that was possible
right now, because it is hate week, and I know the A's and Astros aren't at that same level as those teams, but I'm an A's fan and I hate the freaking Astros. By the way, popped for cheating again yesterday. Their pitcher Blanco, substance on the glove.
I mean,
that's unfortunate to see that. You really hate to see something like that happen. But talking about hate week, I mean, Patrick Mahomes, and I know there's still a lot of Raider fans that live in the area. Everyone hates the Chiefs now. The Niners were not included in that prior to these Super Bowls. Now they're included. And there was the Joe Montana factor. I mean, like, Joe Montana left the Niners. I know they had Steve Young waiting in the wings. We're listening to Steve Young right now. But, like, we don't like them. Marcus Allen, another Raider. He went over there.
If Mahomes wins one more, he ties Joe Montana.
Yes.
I don't think he's not even 30. I mean, like, think about all of the things that he's going to do. I hate him.
He might already be the greatest quarterback. He might be the greatest quarterback ever.
No, I agree with that. We're already their Cincinnati Bengals to his Joe Montana. Yeah. We've lost twice to him, right? So,
and he's been to 4.
The way I look at it, and I agree with Steve Young, like, you have to win when your window opens up in sports. Now, can you knock on the door and knock on the door and knock on the door and eventually plow through? Sure. But it becomes so much harder.
I'm trying to think. I'm trying to think of a coach, and maybe this has happened. I think we were looking at this after the Super Bowl happened, because we were talking about all of the future and stuff like that. Has a coach ever lost 2 Super Bowls, a head coach, and won one?
To start their dynastic run?
Correct. Well, because I know dynastic run, I don't even know if a head coach has lost his first 2.
I believe Tom Landry lost 2 Super Bowls, but not
2. Exactly.
But not his first 2.
Okay, exactly. So that's where I'm kind of getting at. It is so hard to get to that mountaintop.
100%.
I think we as fans, we take it for granted sometimes, especially here in the Bay, because we've seen so much winning, Joe Shasky, that the regular season almost became an afterthought. Like with the Warriors specifically, it became an afterthought with Kevin Durant. Like, it's just, we took that for granted. And we're seeing now lately just how difficult the regular season can be when it's on an even playing field.
Since
and I
2000.
do think the NFC, real quick, The NFC is going to be on more of an even playing field
get
next year.
Since 2000, Chiefs, Patriots, Niners, most playoff wins. And we're the only one that doesn't have a Super Bowl. The drop-off after the Niners in terms of playoff wins, it's wild. And all these other teams have a Super Bowl except the Niners.
That is pretty crazy.
It's insane.
I thought the Steelers would be on that list, but they haven't won a playoff game in forever.
It's 2016.
Yeah.
It's been forever. And so, look, could they still be in the mix? Of course they're going to be in the mix. Of course they're going to be in it. Green Bay is going to be better.
Yes.
And the games will be harder. Detroit's going to be better. I have to believe it.
The Bears.
The Bears might be better.
They could have a C.J. Stroud, Houston Texans situation.
I don't know about Seattle. I just don't believe in Geno Smith enough.
No.
So I don't know.
Sam Howell. They're high on Sam Howell there, too, so we'll see. I like Mike McDonald, though, coming in.
The Rams will be better.
I think the defense in Seattle will be better,
I agree.
too.
The Rams will be better, even though they lost Aaron Donald. As long as I've got Kyle, and as long as I've got Brock, and I'm relatively healthy, you're going to be in the mix. No one is saying you're falling off. No one is saying that. But in terms of best chances to win, you lost in overtime in the Super Bowl.
You held Patrick Mahomes to one touchdown.
I know.
And it was because of a muff punt.
I know.
Like, you dominated. Steve Wilkes is gone. It is what it is. And stuff that doesn't always boil down to one game, but for one game, God, that defense was so good, Joe. They were just doing a masterclass. And there was they had an opportunity on 4th and 1 in overtime. If you stop them, and Bosa just misread Patrick Mahomes' option running for the first down.
Think about sports.
It's crazy. It comes down to one play sometimes. And the Chiefs, who else would you rather have right now than Patrick Mahomes?
If Mahomes doesn't get that first one against the Niners, think of what happens after that. Andy Reid still got that Super Bowl thing hanging over him. They lose to Tampa Bay. I'm just saying, things happen in sports, right? You have to capitalize on your opportunities. When I look back at Patrick Willis and Justin Smith and Frank Gore not getting that ring, it became heavier and heavier and heavier and heavier on their backs.
When we're putting this into the equation of Steve Young saying that, this was their opportunity, is there any chance that they regress this year, Joe Shasky, to you? Well, outside of injuries happening.
There is an but
Could Brock Purdy, regress a little bit because he has such high expectations? There's a whole season of film on him. And I don't think, I think he's a really good quarterback. I think he's a top 10 quarterback in the NFL right now. He's very good. He was an MVP candidate last year. But there's going to be bumps and bruises with this sort of stuff. Not every Tom Brady year was amazing. Not every Drew Brees year, Aaron Rodgers, Peyton Manning year was amazing. They had some down years. So I'm just looking at this next season. I do believe the window is still open, but it's slightly, that window where it cranks open. It's a little shut right now. It's closing in. There's just a little sliver of air creeping through right now because the rest of the NFC's gotten better.
Don Shula lost his first 2 Super Bowls as a coach. 2 different teams, Colts in Super Bowl 3, Dolphins in Super Bowl 6, before winning back-to-back.
That's one. Okay.
It's a great example.
That's a great example.
It's a great example.
It's also one of the greatest coaches in the history of the sport.
Absolutely.
Who had a perfect
longevity.
season. He coached the Dolphins for 30 years.
Yeah, longevity.
It's unreal.
It's just unbelievable.
Ken, also a Dolphins fan.
Kyle's young enough. He could coach that long.
Absolutely
he could.
No one is saying that they're done, and no one's saying that they can't win an improbable one. But in terms of best chance, it's hard to argue with last year being their best chance. The Rams will get better, I believe. I believe Detroit will be better. Green Bay, you could still beat those teams.
Yes.
Like for example,
they're the favorite. Would you still say they are the favorites in the NFC?
Yes.
I think I'm taking them.
But I want to see Philly.
Yes, but
I want to see Philly.
As of now, I'm still taking them over Philly because I think the Niners have earned that. They were just in the Super Bowl.
All right.
And they didn't get worse.
Well, I definitely... I think their offense is stagnant. I think it's right where it was last year, if not slightly better, because they added some offensive.
Pearsall, you don't think that's
No, I know that's what I'm saying.
Okay.
So I'm saying at minimum, it's right where it was last year.
Gotcha.
Defense, to me, is where they've slipped, and we can break that down. Let's go out to Oreo Cookie in Oakland. 888-957-9570. Steve Young said last year was the 49ers' best chance to win the Super Bowl. He didn't mean that they're done and that they're finished. He didn't say that the whole Super Bowl window's open. Just saying that last year was their best chance, and they didn't get it done. And it's going to get harder. Doesn't mean you can't do it. It's just going to get a lot harder.